All right. So this is one of the first videos that I'm probably going to do in maybe a series. This is just kind of like an opener. And what I'd like to talk about is VCV Rack. A lot of people don't know about this particular program. It is extremely helpful. It's super cool, and the best thing is it's completely free. As you can see right here, you can go down to vcvrack.com. You can register and download the program itself for free. And there's so many modules in here that you can get for free without paying anything, and get right into making some really cool music. So, a little overview of what it is it's basically a Eurorack, a synthesizer that is comprised of multiple modules. And you essentially make your own synthesizer, whether it be something very simplistic or super complex, something that's sequenced or just a voice. You can do a lot with this particular program. And a lot of cool things about it that you can do, for example, if you are looking to get into Eurorack and you wanted to, let's say, try out a few different modules, without spending a lot of money. And that's one of the biggest things about Eurorack. It's super expensive. And if you don't have a concise idea of what you're looking to get into, it can be very, very bad for you in the end, because you'll end up having a system that's not necessarily complete, and your wallet will suffer in the end. So, you can get something from the company like, let's say, Mutable Instruments. VCV Rack has all these modules for the most part, excluding a few, that you can try out for free, and they sound almost identical. And I can say this because I have this particular module right here, Rings, and I also have Marbles, which I love, and I also have Clouds. And all these are available for free within VCV Rack, which is amazing. And then there's even other companies like Intro, where they have a lot of their modules for available to try, and you can kind of get a feel for them before you actually buy them. Or if you don't want to get into the actual hardware side of things and you just want to try it out and have fun, that you can do that too. So let's go into VCV Rack. As you can see, I have something open already, and this is a patch I made, I think, yesterday. I started off with a basic idea. I wanted a voice. So what we did was we took a clock module, so we can have some sort of time, like a metronome. We took a sequencer right here, and we're telling this sequencer to make these voices, sound off in pitch and timing when we want them to. And what I did was, this sequencer is being fed an LFO, and it's going to here, and it's bouncing back and forth between these two sequences. And then I also have some random, this is Marbles right here, and Marbles is a random generator, and I'm sending some random voltage to the algorithms of this sequencer. And then obviously coming through here, we have, a VCA, two ADSRs, some reverb through Plateau, and the Chronoblob is doing the delay, all kind of going into this mixer. Also a master recorder if I want to record my session, and our audio output module. We're going from there to, you can exclude this clock right here. I'm not really using that. We're using two versions of plates, which is a digital oscillator. And what they're doing is they're making some drum sounds. Also over here through the Autodave, they're making a couple different drum sounds, like the hi-hats and the claps. I'm feeding those into the Chronoblob again, another instance of that, two of them actually. And what we're doing is we're sending some random voltage to those to get some weird timing differences, all into another mixer and two different sequencers right here. So let's have a quick listen of what we have. So if we hit our clock start right here, the entire sequence should start. So there we go. see we have our basic setup. We're having a cool little voice. We have the psych oscillator going into our filter. We can mute our sections through here. So if I wanted to mute our main voice, you can hear just the drums. We can get nothing. We want to delete some of these guys. We have there you go. We can stop the sequences just singularly on their own, which is pretty cool. Now we just have the main voice up top running. And we can run them again. Very cool. So let's stop that clock. And let's say we want to do a new patch. So let's start. If you were getting into this for the first time, if we open a brand new patch, you can see we have this little setup, which is just a basic voice. So let's turn this on so you can actually hear what's going to go through here. And we're going to go through our Zoom. I believe it's this one. Don't hear nothing yet. So where was it? Let's go back real quick. What did I have it saved as? So if we went and opened our main project, we were in the... So we were in the headphones. Yes, headphones output. So let's go back to File New. And that was in Windows. So let's go back to New. And if we're in this setting here, and we're going to go to headphones. So now, if I hit a key on my keyboard, you can hear I have some sound. And this is a really basic setup here. We essentially have, you know, some VCOs going into a filter, going into some ADSRs, and going from there. And we can play with the octaves. All right, so let's get out of this and let's just try to make a really quick patch with some of the mutable instrument stuff. So if you right click, it's going to open up all your modules that you can see. So if we go to Audible Instruments, this is pretty much the majority of modules that they have to offer through Mutable Instruments. And let's say we want to open plates. So we're going to open an instance of plates, which is a voice. We're going to open an instance of clouds. And the good thing about plates is it has its built-in VCA. So you don't really have to worry about building a traditional patch. It's very, very easy to build a patch in this particular one. We are going to open a mixer. So I like to use NSynthie. And let's go scroll down. And we're only going to do an 8-channel mixer. Don't need anything crazy as far as size on that. And let's open Marbles. So we'll go back to Audible Instruments, and then we're going to open Marbles is a random generator. So what this does is it kind of generates random voltages and gates. And what it does is it can create patches that play themselves, essentially. So let's say we're going to put this aside here. We're going to bring this here. And on this side is the gates, and this side is the control voltages. So if we took a gate and we brought it over here to trig, and we brought our outputs of this, actually we're going to bring it right into, scratch that. We're going to just show you the basic sound first. So you can see there's a random gate, and if I brought the rate up, it goes faster and slower. And we can get more randomized stuff if we put it into the other 3 gates. So let's put in the main output gate, and then we're going to put the CV voltage to the pitch. So you can see what that's doing now is it's kind of picking the pitches for us and changing it without me doing anything. And you know, we can control some of this a little bit, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the input of this and put it into what's called clouds. Now clouds is almost like a reverb texture generator. So we're going to go into here, and let's see if we start scrolling through. We want our reverb amount kind of up a little bit. You start hearing that? So we get some cool weird textures behind that. Bring the gain up a little bit. Pretty cool. So if we bring that density up a little bit more, and the position is going to be like the delay time. So the more this position to this side, the more it's going to, you know, go quick, and the further it goes this way, the longer it takes to delay to that. All right, and let's make the wet higher, stereo spread in the middle, and we want the feedback amount just a little bit more. So you start getting this interesting kind of slap back. So pretty cool already. Now, you can see just from this small patch, we can get some really interesting things. So let's go to our range side of the marbles, and we're going to go to just a basic green, and we're going to bring our frequency and we start playing with the sound of the overall oscillator. Kind of like that. Let's bring the rate up a little bit more. Very cool. So we could take the same idea, the same approach, and if we like that, see I just kind of stop this. So these 2 knobs up here, the switches, will create some repetition. So instead of it being completely random, it'll keep repeating. So from here, let's add an LFO. So let's go to, let's say, Erica Synths. And this is an LFO. So if I start changing this harmonics right here, see how it starts getting different tones? Let's put an output of this to the harmonics. And see, now we're getting some fluctuation in that. Alright. Now, let's say that's a little too much. So let's put a VCA in the middle of that. Let's go back to Audible Instruments and let's get a VCA in between this. So what do I want to use? We'll use a quad VCA. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the output of this into the input of the VCA and the output of that into that. And when I bring this up, you can see now I have some control over how much that's creating that weird texture between the harmonics. And we can start playing with the waves. Cool. Alright. Some of these already have VCAs or attenuators kind of built into them. So this particular one right here, the harmonics, does not. So let's take another output of that and let's see the timbre. Let's play with that. Very cool. Very cool. So we'll just get a nice little drone here. Let's bring the overall tone down. Nice and low. Now let's do a different, let's get a little bit more texture going on. So let's add another one of these plates. And what we're going to do is we'll make a little room for it. Bring this over. And what I want is, let's do another, we'll do plateau, we'll just do a reverb. So we're going to go to Valley. And let's go to plateau. Make a little room for that. Alright, so we're going to go out of this plate and then into this mixer. And we're going to do, alright. And let's mute that real quick. So, reason we have just nothing but noise is because we also need to add a trigger and gate into this. So let's do another gate into the trig, and we'll do another CV into the volt per octave. And we should unmute that, and now we're going to have... That's a little too loud, so we're going to bring that down. Very cool. So I kind of like that already. You know, I can work with this in the DAW, kind of sample this, and do something with it. I think I don't want as much. So I'll bring that size down. Bring that size up a little bit. Oh, the decay. Alright, so I think this is kind of sounding pretty cool. But you get the idea, you know, you can really start building patches, and it does take a little bit of time to start to understand how to do the patching alone and understand how the signal flow works, but once you get the hang of it, your imagination is really, it's endless. So let's mute those two. Now let's think. We have a cool little drone that's happening. Let's add a different voice. Let's go back to Audible. I know I'm using these a lot, but they're really great. Really, really great. So let's say if you want to build a more traditional sound. So if we went to this particular one, this does not have its own built-in VCA. So if we use this right here, this is going to send a volt per octave into the volt per octave, and then a gate into, we're going to have to build a patch here real quick. So let's get a VCA. So we'll go to VCV rack, we'll get a VCA, we will get an ADSR, and we'll get another one, and we will also open a filter. I don't know if I want to use that VCV rack one, but let's go to all brands, and then you can really find things quick in here if you just hit, you can type in filter, and it's going to bring up all different types of filters that I've kind of acquired. You can download any of these, you know. So let's go to, which one do I want? Let's see. We'll just do this multi-mode filter by Bog Audio. And so how we're going to build this patch is we are going to take our output and we're going to put it into the input of the filter, right? And we need a way for this voice to essentially be told when I hit the key to open the voice and close the voice. So that's where the gate is going to trigger the ADSR and tell the VCA to open. So let's take the gate of this into the gate of the ADSR. We're going to put the, let's put the, well, actually we're going to put this into the input of the VCA, the output into the in of the VCF, and then we're going to take the envelope out into the CV input of the VCA, and then we are going to take the output. One more thing, we're going to add a reverb to this one too, because I want to be somewhat ambient. So let's go back to plateau, because I really like that reverb. And we're going to take the out of this into the left, and then we're going to make this a stereo left and right out into our third channel. And now when I press a key, I should have on this particular voice, this is going to trigger the voice itself. And you can see I have a nice long reverb. Very good. And let's turn that audio down. We don't need that much. All right. And I also want my filter to be affected when I hit this key as well. So we're going to take this secondary ADSR and let's place this here. And we're going to send the envelope. I'm going to send the gate here and the envelope to the cutoff CV. And let's take the CV of that. So see now when I bring the CV down, it's changing what that's doing. So let's bring it kind of half up. That's inverting it, so let's bring it up. Very cool. And I'm honestly, I don't have a video camera on me, but I'm doing all this with just an actual keyboard, like a, like your typing keyboard for your computer. You don't have to have any fancy equipment to work with this. It's not the most intuitive when you do it on that keyboard, but, it works. So let's go back to our little jam that we got here, and let's unmute these. Now you can see we have a pattern, and we can live play with this. So if I wanted to find some notes that work. And I'm just changing that VCF a little bit. A little too loud with that. I want the release on this to stay open a little longer. So see, I let go, but it stays. Very cool. Real basic, you don't have to go crazy. So we know those two notes work well with that. Now let's find something else. So on a traditional keyboard, you kind of work your way through, but unfortunately, you're working with these keys. They're not laid out the way that you really could for octaves. So, to make this easier, we could even say, I want an octave in between this. So if we go to VCV, and we go to this guy right here, is an octave. Let's make a little room again. Put him in between. Now we're going to take our volt per octave, and we are going to put him into here, and then out into that, and now we can choose an octave. Cool. Now you can say go up an octave. Bring it up. Very cool. Cool. And then I can even set this up, so let's mute these again. So I can even set these up if I really wanted to. So this was, some sort of sequence. So I can even add a sequencer and even add that into the mix. So for now, I know this is going to be a long video, but that hopefully gives you the gist of what you can do within VCV Rack. And I'll have some more videos to check out. So going back to this, make sure you guys check this link. It's vcvrack.com. The new one just came out, Rack 2. Definitely check it out. You won't regret it if you're into synthesizers or you're into just creating music and sound design. So yeah, see you later.